In this video, we're having a look at a layer of water covering the road surface, either in the form of a puddle or a much larger pool of water. The first real-life clip, we're going to have a look at a puddle covering or crossing the road surface. I'm just going to stop it here because there are a few points to discuss. Notice that this section of the puddle is smooth and glossy and reflective as opposed to this section of the puddle. Now, both contain water crossing the road surface, but the depth of water in this section is not as high. That's why the surface is not as reflective. It's more a matte finish, whereas this section of the puddle has a much thicker layer of water covering the road surface, and that's why it's smooth and glossy and reflective. Why is that important? Well, that's important because as soon as we have a certain thickness of water that covers the road surface and our tires hit that puddle of water at a certain speed, then our tires will start hydroplaning or aquaplaning over the surface of the water. So what happens when the tires start hydroplaning or aquaplaning, it means that the tires actually come off the surface of the tar. So in other words, your tires aren't making contact with that road surface or that tarred surface anymore. And if you've ever experienced this, then you know when that happens, immediately you lose tension on your steering wheel. It feels very light. You can just spin it around with your little finger because there's no longer that contact with the road surface. So when a vehicle is now hydroplaning, you lose directional stability and control. And that means anything can happen to your vehicle. It can start going into a side spin. It can veer across the road surface. And it doesn't matter how much you turn the steering wheel, it's going to have no effect. That's what happens in this particular case. So we've got to be extremely cautious where we see that reflective surface, know that there's a danger that our vehicle can start hydroplaning and we lose all control over the vehicle. Here we have a pool of water, quite a deep pool as you'll see. And so where you come across a situation like this, then don't risk it to think that you can drive through this pool of water, because once the water reaches a certain height on the engine, if it's an older vehicle, then your distributor cap becomes filled with water, and so your engine cuts out. Or even worse, that the water gets into the air intake of the engine and into the cylinders itself, which could turn out to be a lot more costly and disastrous. So it's not worth taking a risk. Where there's a depth of water by means of a pool and you're not sure of what that depth of water is, then rather not take the risk, as we'll see that this driver no doubt regrets later. The third clip, which is the last clip in this video, is just to show the hazard posed by water spraying out from the side of the vehicle as we're traveling along. So you can see in the camera's vehicle a lot of water spray on either side of the vehicle. Now the danger of that is either to other motorists, because we'll see as we run the clip that there's a vehicle passing down the right-hand lane of the camera, and because his view is obstructed as a result of the spray, he actually rides a little bit into the side of the camera's vehicle. It could happen to you, and you'll see that as this vehicle comes past, the spray from this vehicle passing the camera is now sprayed up onto the windscreen. And even if you have your windscreen wipers on a quick setting, just the sheer volume of the water landing on the windscreen can block your visibility, and that can be extremely dangerous.
Please like, subscribe, and get notified.